adopt the minutes from last time.
Okay,
So.
so,
Oh.
No, it's coming?
She'll still be in full force when he
Okay.
gets here, though, just to
Just to make you feel bad.
Shut
Yeah.
the door, lock the door.
all right, so we need somebody to move the approval of the agenda. Donna, is,
I move the approval of the agenda.
okay, and
Second
second?
it.
Pam will second? Okay, we're done.
Take it away, Noah. Adopting the
Hey,
minutes.
Noah.
Adopt them, let's go.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Yes, sir, mate.
No worries.
Well drilling.
Well, yeah, let's go.
So, no,
Noah,
I'm
this
Craig.
is Craig.
Sorry.
I'm the new guy on the block, so,
I'm the young guy on the block.
Well, you are tonight, because Taylor's not here.
I know, right?
Yeah, Taylor has
Oh,
to
yeah,
leave.
you get to run it again.
Right,
So we're on two.
We're on
adoption of
two, we're
minutes.
two.
Adopting the.
So have we done that?
No.
No,
Alright, so, anybody have anything to add? Any comments, any things? Motion to approve the minutes?
I can't motion.
I can't.
okay, I move to adopt the minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Like the ABC, I can.
Yeah. You do a lot of stuff.
You just tell me
You
something.
look good though.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Public comments, do we have any public comments? No. No. Moving on, updates, community center, Shauna.
Community center, so.
Yay,
Mary,
yay.
please
Yeah,
feel free to
yeah.
jump in, so
Yeah.
otherwise I talk a lot, so perhaps you'd like to give us the update.
Well, we
Community
got
center.
gate 2 approval, which is fantastic, so we move forward to gate 3, which basically means that we're gonna refine a whole bunch of the costs in there. We're gonna start our fundraising big time. We're gonna go after big money from the government and that sort of thing. So, you know, I would think it's probably gonna be at least 6 months before we finish gate 3. And by that time, we're gonna have a real good feeling about how the money's coming and that sort of thing. And, you know, and like I say, gonna refine the costs, get that down to so we know exactly how much money it's gonna cost us. Hey, we're pretty good now. What did Sam said the other day, we're minus 15 plus 25. So, you know, that's pretty good. And we're in the ballpark for the amount of money we need. But we do have to dig a little bit deeper, and this is what I brought up at council. When we go for provincial funds and that sort of thing, especially the federal funds, they want you to, this is an idea that you've got, and they're gonna give you $4.5 million. This is a thing that's gone through has public confidence, has council confidence, and it's not shovel ready, but it's not going backwards either. So that's sort of where we're gonna be at gate 3. It's a chunk of money, 157 grand or something we're gonna spend. And it's really positive, and I'll tell you, at that council meeting, people were just absolutely overwhelmed that it's going ahead and, you know, really happy, so.
Yeah.
What is the 157 grand?
And that's for this next stage of development of the community center project.
To do what exactly instead?
All kinds of stuff.
Like,
Well, like I said, refining all the costs.
I
That
have,
sort
I
of
have,
thing.
yeah, So
There'll be surveys done on the land, and just basically, you know, we're at the schematic design stage, which basically we got all the massing done for all the different departments. I don't know if you know, but there's, of course, the rec part of it, there's gonna be.
yeah, I've seen on
Yeah.
the website.
Yeah, good.
So those plans that I see on the website, are they locked in now for the design, or that's still malleable?
The sort of the overall concept is pretty well locked in, as far as the massing and the percentages of the, you know, how much sort of square footage each of the departments is
Yeah.
gonna get and that sort of thing. Those are pretty close to being locked in. There'll be variations.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna go to the public and we're gonna get a whole bunch of great ideas. BowFest, we had a little booth there, and that went extremely well.
so you all
Everybody was
have
very
well.
this
Sounds really
document,
Yeah.
which is the BowFest report on public feedback on the community center. It sums up what we heard at the booth at BoFest, and also all the written comments are attached at the back there as well. So that's kind of something worth having a look at, and it was overwhelmingly very high in terms of support for the community center.
You mean adding a curling rink to the center?
Curling rink, swimming pool, hockey
Winter
rink,
programming?
And a pool, yes.
and a pool.
And Sonia, the design development as part of that 157,000 as well, it includes a lot of the mechanical, just deciding what kind of mechanical systems, electrical systems will be in the building, what kind of flooring, but not picking the color. That's what it's kind of getting the big picture items of what is gonna be in there, but not into the specifics of exactly which tile you're gonna pick.
Right.
But that's
The
the next
basic
phase.
layout.
Basic,
And-
yeah.
Good, good, good.
And are we plumbing in for a dishwasher or
Not
not?
Wow,
that,
right down to
not
those
that
details.
deep, but just about there.
It's impressive.
Just about there. That'll be the final, when all the sort of architectural stuff is done. And the engineer, they'll do that.
And is this 157,000 covering the architectural
Yes,
suites? Okay.
yeah, the next stage.
Wow,
anyway.
that's pretty good.
It is, that was a huge hurdle. The rest of the gates, and there's 5 gates, but the rest of the gates are just refinements, and then you get into actually letting of tenders and stuff like that, but that won't happen. We have to decide whether we're gonna go to referendum for a borrowing referendum for the public.
All right, so that, I thought that was decided, it's not whether it's.
No, if we can get the money, we don't have to go to the public.
Right.
The only reason we're going to a referendum, it's not if we can build a community center, it's if
About
we
borrowing
have
the
the
money.
money.
Right.
If we have to borrow money, we have to go to the public. Now, if we had enough money to fund everything except the municipal offices part of it, the municipal offices are gonna be tax neutral. So we're actually still gonna have to go and borrow $3.1 million or something like that, but there will be no tax implications.
Mhm.
So it probably wouldn't go to referendum, it would go the other way with the, what's that thing called?
Approvals,
Approval process,
yeah.
Alternate.
Alternate approval
Alternate
process, so
approval
then you don't have to have a referendum. Referendum is extraordinarily expensive.
Yeah,
And if there's no tax increase, it would be a bit of a no-brainer, I would think,
exactly.
hopefully. Anyway, so we're off and running, but we got a long way to go. It's very
So,
exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It's a
Yeah.
long, it's been a long time coming.
It has been
Yeah.
a very, very long time, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the arts community, I was really surprised with all this, they're behind it,
Yeah.
100%, so that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really
To
good.
be able to work well with them as well is good.
Yeah, the council's behind it, all of
Yeah.
council.
So
Yes,
including the
thank
mayor.
in the beginning, though, so what's for the kids?
There's not, there'll be a play space for the kids, but most of it's, I would say, in the ability to have all the programs there.
Yeah, so the programming for recreation right now currently takes place in the Bix gym, the school gym, as well as the children's center. There we have a fitness studio space there. So all of that programming will move into the large multipurpose room in the new facility. So it will enable us. The Bix gym is really limiting right now because we only can have access at 3 p.m. during the week. So to be able to have access to a space all day will enable us to be able to offer more preschool programming, seniors programming, and things like that. Just having.
But the auditorium wouldn't allow for basketball.
No, I
No,
don't think so.
that will keep in the Bix gym. So
Yeah.
we will still do some programming out of the Bix gym and things like basketball after school and whatnot. We'll
And will the
continue.
floor handle floor hockey?
The Bix gym floor will do that.
Okay.
So
The
they
new
just
one, the
redid
new
the
floor.
floor,
Okay.
and we, the municipality, paid to have an extra coating on the floor that will allow us to be able to do floor hockey and roller hockey and continue those programs at the school.
Okay.
This, the large multipurpose room, I'm not sure what the flooring will be, but it will have retractable seating in it because it will also act as the performance space. for that. Yeah.
There you go, you guys.
So when you say kids, what about teenagers? That's my question.
Well, The next, I mean, first off, the teenagers are really tough to program for. It's almost impossible, but if you can provide, space, and what you're looking for is a sort of a gaming room, like you want computer access, you want some sort of, create some sort of online, somewhat supervised, loosely supervised online gaming thing for teens. And that's really about the only thing you can put out there. You can't advertise it. In fact, the harder you push it, the more likely it is they won't actually show up. So, that's a tough one. That's one thing I think. But the space-wise for teens isn't so bad. I mean, of course, it's always nice to have a basketball thing. And now I don't know what I haven't had any kids here. We just moved here 5 years ago, so I don't know what the access to the Bix gym is. But on Friday evenings, is that open to us, or is that?
It's gymnastics. The gymnastics club rents it on Friday evenings. But I think what we'll find is that shifting some of the programs out of the Bix gym will open up more times.
Okay.
So what we can shift into the new facility, we will, and then that will open up more time in the gym for youth and other group like basketball and more sport stuff.
Pick up
right
basketball
now just isn't having a lot of success in terms of just being able to have enough time and space in there. So
teenagers are just nightmares.
yes,
So.
yes.
Well,
A lot of us have. Oh yeah, a lot of us have some.
Yeah.
I'm still in there.
We're living that right
Yeah.
now.
And it's just something, they don't actually ever grow up, even, Mine are in their 20s, and they're still teenagers.
Anybody
So
else,
Craig-
anything else on that?
I have one more thing on that, but I was
Okay.
just wondering, Craig, do you mind letting us know a little bit about your background and what brought you to the commission? I know we're out of sync now.
We didn't do a proper introduction.
We didn't do a proper.
I didn't hear back from you, so we didn't have any part.
Okay, I was involved in Vancouver Parks Board for years. I was president of the Falls Creek Community Center. I oversaw the expansion program there. The reason I brought up the thing with the kids is because I came late on board and they did a whole expansion and neglected to build anything for the kids. It was just an outrageous slap in the face, and one that's why I got involved, because it was great. So that's what I want. And if you don't have anything you want, I mean, they mentioned the pool and the and you want to have an ice rink too, right?
Sure.
The difficulty with any of those is the maintenance fees on those things are beyond. So I oversaw that thing. I also was involved up at Kerrisdale Community Center there with their, they have, in the summer they had sort of a play group, I don't know what you call it, but they opened it up for the summer, and it was actually a very good thing for daycare for the summer.
Yeah.
You could drop the kids off.
So
at
day camps.
day camps and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Huge hit. And that was good. We got that going, and that was a big success. We had to go back at Falls Creek and raise the roof. We had to go back and retrofit the thing to get it to be suitable for basketball, which is ridiculous amount of money. But
Right.
anyways, we lobbied for federal funds and provincial funds, and we were quite successful, so that was good. Aside from doing the Falls Creek and Kerrisdale community centers, I also got kids, but I got involved in doing President's Association, which was all the presidents of the community centers in Vancouver. I was in charge of that for a couple of years and did that liaison with the Parks Board itself and council. If I hadn't got all fed up, I probably would have gone on to the Parks Board, but it's a very political, very frustrating thing to get in. And the fun part, you can lose fun really fast. Right?
Yeah.
I've still got friends that are involved, like they're involved in that school board thing, like just horrid. Just absolutely horrid. Fun was the farthest thing from that. Like it was just acrimonious debate. So I kind of like the thing, like we did a lot of the things. You had to wear noses, like red noses to your meetings, so that just essentially it just lightened things up
Right.
because
Yeah.
everybody looked like an idiot and whenever the meetings got to be overly serious or too much back and forth, and we would all do
Get
on
the
the
noses.
noses.
Right.
Get the noses out.
Okay,
I like it.
good.
Yeah, it was quite a. So Falls Creek was a fascinating growing thing. One of the things I was most proud of is we set up a kayak club there because for a lot of the kids in Falls Creek we're right at the water, like right there. In fact, we swam in the water, still alive, so I guess it's okay. But for a lot of the kids, getting access to the water in canoes and kayaks was just unheard of. So we set up a whole thing because there was an elite system they had, the Falls Creek Dragon Boat Club and Canoe Club. Very elite organization, very intimidating to any of the locals. So we reached out and we created something a little bit more for the public and something that they could grip onto. And so yeah, it was kind of fun. And same thing with the parks. Like the kids, there always seemed to be no representation for the kids. Like the baseball diamond, which was a kid's baseball diamond, was taken over by an adult baseball league.
Oh.
We used it 7 nights a week, and we had a fight against that. Like it was just absurd. And so, anyways, that was my focus, was primarily with the kids. Daycare, that was a big issue back in those days. We had to raise the wages because at that time the ECD workers were getting $11 an hour, no benefits, no overtime. So we put together a task force, came up with a thing, got them at the time it was pretty good, up to $15 an hour. That was in the early 90s there, and got them some benefits.
Great.
And it worked on that and got some rules down. So I guess where I'm coming from is that I just want to ensure that the kids aren't forgotten here, and because adults are easily organized and kids aren't. So.
Yeah.
Good to have you on
Thank
board.
you. Yeah, thanks.
Great.
Okay, well,
Welcome.
that's it.
Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome, yeah.
Don't be shy.
Did you have one more thing to add about the
So
community
one more
center?
thing about the community center was just maybe we could have, and maybe it's just a food for thought at this point, but thinking about the way that this commission can support or be involved in this next phase of moving towards Gate 3. So in the next phase of the project, we are planning to have some stakeholder sessions where we will be looking for more input from stakeholders such as the commission and people with experience, and so
Bring
that'll
some ideas next month.
bring some ideas,
Okay.
and possibly, so that might be something that's coming forward in the next month or so. But anyway, I think if just the commission can sort of start to think about how to support, and whether it's through fundraising assistance or the stakeholders and representing demographics and that kind of thing, is just to,
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just be positive in the community and spread
yeah,
it around.
and I think that's key too, is just providing those key messages. So please visit the website. It's ourislandplace.com. That's the project website. There's a lot of FAQs on there, so it would be great if people are sort of familiar with the answers to those, and in the event that you are approached about questions about the community center and stuff.
Send
The
people
more
that way.
people who are send people that way, definitely, but I think the more positive enthusiasm we can put out there, the more the community's gonna be engaged.
Great. All
right.
Thanks. On to the bike park.
So the bike park, Monday was a big night at council. The bike park also is approved to move ahead with the bike park design. And Bonnie is the manager of Parks and Environment. She and I will be meeting with the designer and the Bowen Bike Park group next week to be going through what the next steps will be, and that'll involve looking at how to access the site. We're going to be meeting with Scott Slater, the principal of BIX, around accessing the site through the parking lot and stuff like that in terms of the build and the construction. The first kind of phase of that will be a really good layout marked out in the site for the bike park to really hammer down kind of what it's gonna look like, where it's gonna be, which trees need to come down, which trees are gonna be part of the park, and what needs to be cleaned out. So the bike park group is well organized, and they're gonna be looking at pulling together volunteer labor. They're gonna be going to the community to look for donations of machine time or labor time or stuff like that. So just, that's coming. That's, should probably in the next couple of weeks. The plan is to build through October and November and have it finished and,
Oh, wow.
and open. Yeah, the
That's
plan
quick.
is to build it
November?
this fall.
Build next month.
Yes,
Wow, right on.
yeah.
Exciting.
That's
More exciting.
My
so
first
fast.
concern was I
Yeah.
thought we'd already approved the plan to go ahead and get a design plan, but I guess that happened
The
again.
design is already, we've already got it.
It's already happened.
It's already happened. So this, if you wanna have a look too, I didn't print it for everybody here,
I have a
but,
good copy.
there's a design with kind of a little bit of a run track for younger kids.
Top there,
Um,
yeah.
And then it gets, this outside edge gets a little bit more difficult, and then this is more berms and humps and bumps.
Wow, that's
and-
way more than I thought they were gonna do, actually.
So there's kind of 3 iterations of, or 4 actually,
Four in
4
there, yeah.
progressions, so the kids can work up to it.
That's fabulous.
That's really
And
neat.
is it about an acre, or what's the size of that
If you
land
look
there?
on the other
Is it
side of that, it
size?
might be on to scale.
It was about an acre.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought I remember it being, because an
That's
acre
it,
is a
that's-
decent size to,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to get some
Yeah.
heart pumping, right?
And if you're familiar with that trail that goes down behind Bix,
Yeah.
it's gonna be to the left of it as you're heading down towards the meadow.
Right, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
The old running route.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's underway. That is,
Fantastic.
Oh,
we're
that's-
ready to go
that's good.
with that, so.
Who's gonna manage it? Or is it?
It'll be a
require any
municipal
management?
park.
Okay, good.
And the municipality's taking on the maintenance of it as
Okay.
well. The bike park group is in a collaborative project service agreement with the municipality, so they will be doing the fundraising and we did apply for an active communities grant with Vancouver Coastal Health and received $15,000 for
Yeah.
that, so only 40% of it can go to capital costs, but the design can also be paid for out of that grant. And the rest of the money, just did the budget for, is going to go towards training interested youth who are interested in biking in fundamental movement skills and physical literacy, as well as training some of our other staff who work with kids. But the idea is that the youth ambassadors who are interested in biking will get the skills, fundamental movement skills, to be able to be at the park and paid an honorarium.
Nice.
They'll be able to be at the park, show the younger ones how to balance, how to take care of the park, what to do on it, how to use it, how to progress through the different phases, and have some skills behind them to be able to do that. So that's part of the grant.
It's kind of cool.
As well as having workshops. Those workshops, the physical literacy and the fundamental movement skill workshops, will actually be, we'll bring facilitators over and offer that to any interested youth and instructors who work with kids in any of the recreation programs. So that is part of the other piece of how that grant will get spent.
Was there any talk in the bike group about recruiting some of the Bowen youth who are going to be using the park ultimately to get involved in the actual grunt work of building the park?
So they already have been. A few of the people who are in the bike park group are parents of teenagers who are interested in mountain biking.
Mhm.
They will be, I think, recruiting more kids to come out and clear land or like just to be a part of the actual build. I think that's definitely part of what their plan is.
That would be very
So-
cool too, yeah.
So I guess same thing, how the commission can be a part of that, or getting the word out, or anything that you feel you can contribute or help with the bike park group. Maybe just those kind of things can come through me, and I can shift them over to who would most benefit from knowing what's out there, what's available. So yeah,
Cool.
So that's the bike park.
Good.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Already,
exciting.
We're gonna move on to staff reports.
Yes.
Can I go
Program.
I just, you mentioned that we're being familiar with the FAQs, so I printed the FAQs.
Oh, thank you. Great.
So there are two, one stapled and there are paid additional ones. Maybe some FAQs.
So recreation programming this summer, we did, had some different things. We had some outdoor spin happen at Bix. Some boot camps, for adults. Did a few different initiatives which worked out really well. We had, I think, up to about 25 leaders in training, so youth between the ages of 12 and 15 who helped out at the day camps. Day camps were quite often waitlisted. It was a really bumper year for day camps this year, which was really great. We had some great staff, Riley McLeod, Sienna Valley, Josie Huskisson, and Callie Brome. They were our 4 full-time staff over the summer. And Matilda Shapland was our play care part-time staff. So we had a great crew of staff. New swim instructor this year too, Alyssa Zandvliet, took over from Billy Beam, who's been teaching swimming lessons for years and years and years. And Alyssa did a very good job. A couple of girls-only programs, so Dirt Divas was something that a few of us came up with, and it's a girls-only biking program that was run by volunteers. We took 8 girls out biking on the trails, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. I went along on one of them, and yeah, it was really fun. But just the idea being that maybe then they can do it on their own. So there was 4 weeks of that with an instructor, with the idea that now they know where the trails are, they know how to ride them. We gave them some tips, and the idea is to kind of work on the active transportation piece, and also just kind of encouraging them to get together to do that on their own. It's a little bit non-traditional for girls in mountain biking, so just opening that up. Had some specialty camps and a great Canada Day celebration. So we've got a few new things coming up this fall, sorry. Bona Library and Recreation and Metro Parks have all partnered up to provide something called Strollers and Stories. So it's for young little ones in strollers and their parents. The library has chosen 4 storybooks, which we've photocopied, laminated the pages, and Metro Parks is allowing us to put some stakes in the ground along a path.
Oh my gosh.
With the
that's
idea
awesome.
that they start at the library, they walk a little bit, they read 2 pages, they walk a little bit more, they read 2 pages. So we're trying to get that active out there walking and being active, and you keep wanting to go to the next pole, so you see what happens in your story. So I think it's running for 4 weeks. There's 4 different stories, and we'll just rotate the stories out. And so that was a new initiative. But, yeah. And we've got some new instructors who joined the recreation team this fall. So Alicia Hockenrath, Jessica Slater, and Catherine Barnum. So we're excited to see the new innovative programming that's coming that way. The youth services report, they continued. We're open Fridays and Saturday drop-in programming through the summer. John Stivers, the youth services coordinator, and he supported the LITs, the leaders in training, through their volunteer work with the day camps. And again, we had a generous donation sponsorship of that program from the First Credit Union. So they give us $1,600 every year to be able to sponsor that program. We bring a facilitator over, Jeff Willis from Creative Toolbox. He's been coming here for quite a few years, and he does leadership training and trust exercises and a lot of self-esteem kind of building programming with the youth for an evening. Yeah. The big thing this summer for the youth was the skateboarding legend Kevin Harris. I'm not a skateboarder. I've never heard of Kevin Harris, but apparently he's a big deal. He brought a team of some of the world's top skateboarders to Bowen. They did a presentation and a demo, and they showed kids how to do some tricks. They had over 50 people come to the fire hall, the satellite fire hall site. And presentation around positive aspects of skateboarding culture, as well as doing tricks and that kind of thing. So it was a huge success, but what is coming out of it is similar to the bike park, where there's a group of people who are coming together with John Stiver, the youth services coordinator, and they are going to form a skate park group, hopefully in a collaborative project service agreement with the municipality, similar to that sort of thing. So I think we've seen the success of how the bike park has been able to come to fruition with a dedicated group of parents, or just a dedicated group of people who wanted to see that happen. So a similar thing seems to be happening in the skate park community. So that's another initiative that might be coming down the pipe and they would be presenting to this commission.
Yeah, I had a chat with Rod, phoned me.
Rod Marsh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marsh. And yeah, we had a really good chat, and I think they're really gonna actually get this thing going.
Yeah,
You know,
it
form
sounds really
a
positive.
group, bring it to council, and I'm sure we can find some land around the community center somewhere. The difference between the bike park is totally regenerative. You know, if we decide to use that land for something else, like housing or something, whatever, then we can just take it back up.
Right.
You know, skate park's a little bit different,
Yeah,
a lot of concrete there.
right, yeah.
But I think it's a really good asset, and I'd like to see something high profile, like even if it was just sort of north of where the community center is sort of planning to go, on
Yeah.
the way to the school. I mean, you got the basketball courts in there.
Right,
You know, just make a whole deal in there.
yeah, absolutely.
Should be really nice.
It's
And
great.
tennis courts.
Yeah, more tennis courts.
Two,
I'm gonna get you
side
this
by
time.
side, that you can play on.
Yeah. Can't play on the others? No bad idea.
They're getting done, yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so I think that was it for staff reports. And then moving on to the work plan. So just coming back to what we did in June, and Craig, just for some background, we did the community recreation plan, just completed that over the summer, and it's a 10-year plan for decision making and for recreation for the next 10 years. One of the things, there's a bunch of recommendations in the back of it. So what we had done in June was take all the recommendations, looked at possible goals, possible action items of what people thought we could do. And I think moving forward with that, it would be just for us to start prioritizing what that is, brainstorm some initiatives, approximate potential budgets. And I think that maybe we could work on that a little bit tonight and maybe the next meeting as we go, just to create a work plan that the commission would sort of own, and it needs to go to council to be adopted, but just to kind of narrow down what the scope of the commission would be and what kind of initiatives might come out of the commission. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to take it away a little bit, and maybe we can kind of look at the recommendations and see where we're at. Some of the stuff, maybe just have a little bit more brainstorming around what the commission wants to do. So it would basically be kind of a work plan between now and the end of 2018. In your agenda package you have it, and it's also up on the screen now. And what this document came out of what we had all talked about in June. So basically I just took the recommendation and wrote in all of the things that you had already come up with. So it might be worth even just trying to prioritize what the commission is interested in, or where we think we can do the most benefit to the community. Some of the initiatives, some things are already kind of happening in terms of programming, and I'm happy to speak to that.
For me, I think I want at least like teens and seniors are like for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I was just looking at that too, that's gonna be a
I
high
think
priority.
those are
Yeah.
Priority?
Yeah, I
One of them.
agree.
Yeah. So focus attention on the areas of greatest dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Youth and seniors programming.
Because now we're gonna get a medical center, we'll be able to live on the island.
That's
They
right.
can get the funding.
The seniors will
Right.
stay.
2 months to get that funding.
Well, even small things like, putting that bench at the beach
Mm-hmm.
for people,
Yeah.
because those things, that just gave me such a lift. I work with seniors now, and it's just, those are the sort of things, the small, really tangible things that we can do,
Yeah.
I think go a really long way, as well as the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
But, I agree that for youth and seniors, I would like to see that as pretty much at the top, or close to the top
Okay.
in terms of priority. The other one that I would like to see it sort of at the top-ish would be the collaboration with other community groups and liaison with other community groups, because there's so much going on the island for so many different groups.
Yeah.
And often they don't know what each other's doing, or we don't know what they're doing. And to have us sort of as a hub where we could make sure that people feel connected to what each other is doing, and we could know what they're doing so we can support them. I think that's a
Okay.
valuable.
Yeah, for sure. I was at, the Community Foundation, that talk on Saturday. Anyways,
Vital
Vital
conversations, yeah.
something that came up was really neat was how we are putting trails across the island, and we're doing all these things, and give you a walk or bike or whatever, but we aren't actually a culture that does that all the time.
Yeah.
And rides their bikes to work and walks to work. So somehow creating a culture of biking, walking every day, and getting our community like in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, there's always a nice trail to use, but why don't we make sure people are actually using it? Some initiatives around that. I don't know how that would fit into this, if it's even in a recommendation in here, I think it is somewhere a little bit.
Well, marking the trails.
Yeah, but it was a little bit more than that.
Or that mindset of, if you build it, they will come. If the trails are there and they're
Can you take it a step further than just that, but somehow